Well, good morning again, humans. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is our weekly post. Sorry, I'm playing with my shoulder today because I am, no longer wearing my fancy sling accessories, so you're gonna have to put up with the random ows for me. And today's post, so it's kind of an interesting little shenanigan. I know, right? There's gonna be shenanigans. I was out with a friend last night, so I'm traveling for work, the glamorous hotel behind me. And thanks, Homewood Suites, for putting me up as you usually do. And I was talking to a really good friend of mine last night. We were out in dinner and having a few drinks. And as we were talking, we were kind of going over the podcast because she started following, her friends have started following. It's actually a very cool process. And we were talking about what today's topic should be. And I had a few different things that I kind of had on my agenda for the day. And, I was kind of putting them all out, and she was listening to all the things that I was saying. And, she's like, well, that's a really great topic. And this one's really cool as well. And, I have 6 or 7 that are lined up that I'm thinking about doing. And then we started talking about the reasons why I do this and where it started, how I got the process going. Sorry, go-go juice, coffee. And it was really kind of cool because I was watching her as I was talking to her, and she was hanging on every word that I said, and she was super engaged, she was present, and of course she would be, right? She's my friend, so she's going to listen to the things that I'm putting out there. And as we were talking, I kind of realized, I was like, well, this is one of my humans. Like, this is one of the people that I go to for, counsel, advice, even though I'm older than she is. And, she comes to me for counsel and advice. I go to her just as much, even though I might not say it and I might not put it out there, right? Because I respect her opinion. And then I realized, I was like, well, you're one of my people. You're one of my tribe. And then I thought about it, and her idea was we should recap June. Like, that's what you should do, Frank. You should recap June, talk about Pride Month, why you did this, where it started, and all those pieces. And as I was thinking about it last night when I got back to my hotel, I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about chosen family. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. And that's one of the pieces that I think we all know in the queer community, but the straight community doesn't necessarily understand it. So this is about talking about a very specific type of survival when we talk about chosen family. We're talking about the holidays. We're talking about long weekends. We're talking about, random Tuesday nights when you have to answer calls from your bio relatives. And we all know the drill, right? You walk into your childhood home for a family function, and then suddenly you're playing like a high stakes game of like Minesweep. You're having to dodge Aunt Shirley and talk to Uncle Bill, and Grandpa Henry's running around asking all the questions. Things like, so are you still doing that lifestyle thing? Oh, you're still living with your friend in the 1 bedroom apartment? Friend, really? Like, you know who they are, but you can't say the words. Biology is like a lottery, you guys. Sometimes you win the supportive, loving family and you hit all 6 of the Powerballs. And then sometimes you win a group of people that share like 50% of your DNA, but 0% of your values. And you sit there and you eat dry turkey and yucky stuffing that, your great Aunt Evelyn made, and you have to smile through the pain. But today we're not focusing on the lottery that we lost. We're focusing on the lottery that we won. And the lottery that we won isn't the bio family, it's your chosen family. They're the ones that don't just accept you, they actually get you. So we're going to break this down into chosen family, why it's kind of a psychological lifesaver, and understanding why your friends become your true relatives, not bio, but in all honesty. A lot of folks out there may be adopted. You may not be with your bio family, but you feel like they're your bio family. Even though you don't share genetics and DNA, they're still the people that you They're your tribe. They're your humans. They're your family, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousins, your uncles, all the things. It's the same in the chosen family. So the educational side isn't just like a trendy little thing that we say. It's a really vital piece of queer history that's rooted in survival. And we talk about that a lot, like the survival aspect of it. But historically, when we go back many, many years, coming out meant getting kicked out, or it meant being pushed out. Maybe not of your home, but of the bio environment that you were in. And through the entire 20th century, thousands of LGBTQ youth found themselves on the streets. They found themselves with nothing but the clothes on their back. They found themselves couch surfing, rejected by their entire bloodline, just simply for being them, just for existing. And so what did the queer community do? Like, how did we deal with this? We didn't just curl up and give up. We built our own structures. We built our own support systems. So in the late 70s and 80s, this is where the fun educational, like, history part comes in. Specifically within the Black and the Latino queer communities, mainly in New York City, primarily. And has anybody watched Pose? Like the show Pose that was out on the streaming services? Really, really great show, but they focus a lot on this as well, and it's called the ball culture, like a grand ball, like a gala ball. And they created the concept of houses like the House of Gryffindor, the House of Slytherin, houses, groups of humans that were together. You had the House of La Bahia, you had the House of Extravaganza, you had the House of Mugler. They weren't just dance troupes and people, doing this all the time. Surprised I can actually do that with my shoulder being as jacked up as it is. They were actually like secondary sanctuary related spaces. The leaders of these troupes, the leaders of these houses were called mothers and fathers, and they took in homeless queer kids, fed them, clothed them. They taught them how to survive in a world that didn't necessarily want them at the time. It was outside of the war zone. It was outside of the line of fire. They gave them a last name, a true last name that they could adopt as their own. And that house became their fortress. So sociologists have a term for this now, and they call it fictive kinship. And it means a form of family that's not based in blood or marriage, but on shared experiences and mutual support. Fictive kinship. It's a huge thing because that is what chosen family really is. And those folks of mine that are out there that are former psych majors and therapists and so on and so forth, you've probably heard the term. At the end of the day, humans just don't want a roof over their heads. They want to feel like they belong to somebody, like they have a place to go, they have a purpose. So we talk about and it's funny because there's different roles in those houses, but there's also different roles within our chosen families. So think about your friend group, because this is where it gets kind of funny. Everybody has the group mother, right, in their friend group. This is the friend that keeps the Advil in their pocket. They have the wet wipes. They got the emergency phone charger in the bottom of their bag. If you go to a club, they got everybody on Life 360 and they're tracking people's location like a hawk. Like, if you get a random text at 2 a.m. after y'all been out and about that says, drink your water and don't forget to eat the Taco Bell that you left on your counter, that's your chosen mom. And then you have the chaos sibling, okay? This is the one that we all know, and sometimes I can be the chaos sibling, I'm not gonna lie. This is the friend that you cannot leave unsupervised for more than 5 minutes. You're gonna turn your back to order a drink, and then suddenly they're on the stage with one of the performers. They grab somebody's wig and they're running around the bar shrieking at the top of their lungs. They might be there holding some thing that they shouldn't be holding in a public atmosphere. I mean, they could be signing a lease on a new apartment that they have no business affording. They're totally a liability in your friend group, but your life would be So boring without this human. And then you have the uncles. I actually might be one of the uncles too. They're usually a couple. They've been together for like a million years. They basically don't even look at each other anymore. They just live in the same house. And essentially, what they're doing is they're just communicating through sighs, like, but that sigh held everything. They're totally loaded. They have, the fancy house with the expensive scented candles that you're afraid to even move next to because you don't want to break the jar. They offer the ultimate luxury, and it's not just financial, it's unfiltered, true advice, gossip, and conversation over probably really, really stupidly expensive wine. So the beauty about these roles is there's no literal expectation of perfection. Like, biofamilies love based on who they want you to be, right? Like, you're destined to be the doctor, you're destined to be the lawyer, you're destined to be the accountant, you're destined to take over the family business. Chosen families love you for how you turned out and for the person that you are. They've seen you at your worst, the chosen families. Like, they've seen you crying over the ex that you just broke up with in the Taco Bell parking lot at 3 a.m. I know I have been there. And they don't write you out of the will for it. They embrace that. Instead of coaching and saying, oh, don't do that, it's not that, they just buy you another taco and say, baby, go home, cry it out. Do what you gotta do. Here's another one. Eat your chalupa. It's actually kind of amazing. But let's get a little closer for a second. Here's the heavy part. There can be a lot of grief attached to this topic, and it hurts to realize that the people that you are genetically and DNA bonded to might never really understand the full beauty and reality of who you are. And it's okay to mourn that. We don't want to turn our backs on our biofamilies. We don't want to say that, if we weren't blessed to have that supportive family, we might have had the one that didn't necessarily accept us for who we are. That was my experience. My family did not accept me for who and what I was. And I was one of those young adults that was told, get out of the house. And so many of the people I know are. And then I also have those people that come to the bar on Friday nights, because we do beers with the boys on Fridays. And some of the boys are coming in and they're bringing their moms. They're bringing their uncles. Like, my best friend, my roommate, the man I choose to call my little brother, we've gone out with his uncle and his fiance. He's a straight man. And we've taken him to a gay strip bar. And the man had the time of his life. Just had a blast. Like, both of them were cutting up. They were laughing. They were making friends with people. And they became my chosen family. They became part of my circle. The magic of who and what we are, it's the queer community. We prove it every single day that love is an action. It's not a genetic code. It's something that we choose. Blood cells tell you how to pump oxygen. Chosen family tells your heart how to beat safely. So if you have people in your life that make you feel like you're enough, if they make you feel that you could take off your mask, people who show up at the hospital to visit you when you're ill, people who celebrate the small victories, people who tell you you're being a complete asshat and an idiot, you're rich. You have a family. So when we look at it, I'm not going to give you guys homework, and I'm not going to, tell you, oh, think about this, come back and put it in the comments. But what I am going to say is, think about your friend group. You probably have the group mom. You probably have the chaos sibling. You probably have the fancy uncle. And you don't have to dissect it. You don't have to quantify anybody. You don't have to explain it. Just love it. Just enjoy it. Smile about it and tell them thank you. Give them a random text and send it to them. Be like, thanks for always looking out for me. Thanks for, worrying about whether or not I got home, whether or not I ate. Thanks for giving me advice over that glass of wine last week. when I had that really bad fight with my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Thank you for spending your time with me when there's so many other people that you could spend time with. So, as we always say, we're at time. I probably went just a little bit over today, but not as much as I normally do. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for being here today. And thank you for my friend last night that sat and listened to me talk about this podcast and the YouTube channel, and for being my chosen family and being a person that I can go to. She actually did not want to be named. I told her I was going to give her credit today, and she's like, "Oh my God, don't say my name. Don't tell people who I am." So we'll just refer to her as Madam X. I know, she got a kick out of that. So, Madam X, if you're out there, thank you for giving me the inspiration to do this one today. Because after our conversation last night, even though I know you thought I was going to go a specific direction, I decided to go a completely different one because our conversation and our relationship inspired me to talk about the chosen family. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for spending 15 minutes with me today on a Wednesday morning. Again, if you stayed through the whole time, thank you. I appreciate you, and thank you for listening to all the words. If you only popped in, throw a comment in the section. Let me know what you thought, what resonated, what didn't, what could be better next time. And if there's any ideas you have for future podcasts, please give me a holler and give me those, because I'm always looking for new material. And again, really what this is about is bridging the gap between one world and another. And that's the whole point of this, because love is love at the end of the day. I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for tuning in. Love you guys. Have a great day.